welcome to your #1 TV station, News and Updates. I am Bebs Jenica, your resident chismosa, and this is Bebs Pa More, ang unang chismis. It's a new day mga ka-Bebs, isa lang ang ibig sabihin niyan, new chismis na naman. What's new in today's point of view? Let's watch this.
Dalawang Nigerian at 3 Pilipinong nambibiktima umano ng mga gumagamit ng mobile wallet ang nalambat ng National Bureau of Investigation. Babala po ng NBI, malikhain na ngayon ang mga scammer kaya dapat magdoble ingat. Ang mga tip para hindi mabiktima sa pagtutok po ni Maki Pulido.
Walang klinik na link ang online seller na si Jason nang matangayan ng 6,500 pesos mula sa kanyang GCash account. Sinabi lang sa kanya ng scammer na ipadadala ang pera sa KKB feature ng GCash at nang kanyang i-check na ipadala na nga ang bayad. Pero nakatanggap siya ng text di umano mula sa GCash na para makuha ang bayad, kailangan din niyang magpadala ng pera sa KKB. Matapos gawin ito, nawala na ang KKB account ng scammer.
Yung lesson learned na lang po siguro, anything na magko-collect sa'yo ng pera para ma-receive mo yung payment, red flag na po yun.
Sabi ng GCash, disenyo ng KKB o kanya-kanyang bayad feature ang makapagpadala ng perang paghahatian. Halimbawa, bayad sa kuryente. Kung tatanggap ng bayad mula sa customer, dapat direkta na, huwag idaan sa KKB feature. Malikhain na ngayon ng mga scammer kaya dapat wais. Pwede ka nga ring alukan ng pera para ibang gagamit ng GCash o ATM mo, di mo alam, dun idadaan ang perang galing sa scam. Kung magkahulian, kasama ka sa mga kakasuhan.
Sabi na taga GCash kami, kayo mag-open kayo ng account and in return, bibigyan namin kayong 500 pesos. Ikaw ang sasalo nung fraudulent transaction kasi ikaw nakapangalan doon sa GCash.
Ang hindi mawawalang panloloko, text, email o kaya tawag mula sa nagpapanggap na customer service. Mag-ingat sa mga link na yan. Diyan na makukuha ang mga personal information mong magagamit para tangayin ang ipon mo. Lagi lang tandaan, kung lehitimo, hindi hihingin sa'yo ang iyong PIN o OTP.
We do have, risk checks and risk rules in our platform, but it really would help if you safeguard your MPIN and OTP.
Nakikipagtulungan na ang GCash sa NBI Cybercrime Division. Ayon sa GCash, may nahuling 2 Nigerian national at 3 Pilipinong nambibiktima ng GCash users. Ang racket umano ng grupo, lumikha ng bogus na mga webpage para makuha ang personal data ng mga biktima. Agad daw itong iniulat ng GCash sa NBI, kaya nahuli ang mga suspect. Kaya mahalaga raw mag-report kung mabiktima ng online scam. Si Maribel laging nakakatanggap ng mga text tulad minsan, nanalo raw siya ng relo, i-click lang ang link.
Ini-ignore ko lang po yung mga hindi text na hindi ko man po kilala. Kasi maraming mga matatalino gumawa ng mga scam.
Maki Pulido na katutok, 24 oras.
Pandemic has created extraordinary effects in this generation, making everyone take risks in every situation. Many people tend to continue their work in home-based approach. Marami ring mga nawalan kaya't nilakasan ang loob na sumubok ng mga na trabaho sa kalagitnaan ng pandemya. One of these jobs na naging sa merkado ay ang e-commerce at online business. Sa patuloy na paglaki at paglaganap ng ganitong klase ng negosyo, patuloy din ang kaliwat ka ng mga modus at pangloloko. Paano nga ba maiiwasan ang mga ito? How can people continue their online business and with full security without risking any cost? Yan ang inyong dapat abangan. And viewers, huwag kalimutan na maaari mo kaming makachikahan gamit ang ating hashtag for today's video na #BebsPamore, ang unang chismis. So for today's chaa, we will talk about computer security and safety, ethics, and privacy. We invited several professionals to further explain to us the things we should know regarding safety, security, and privacy that we must apply while using our computers. Without further ado, let us now welcome Information Technology Professor Ms. Dina Makuha to give us the knowledge about computer security risk and internet and network attacks.
Good day, everyone. Our topic for today is about computer security and safety, ethics, and privacy. So to formally start, let me first introduce myself. My name is Rose Andillo, and I will be discussing computer security risk and internet and network attacks. So let's begin. Today, people rely on computers to create, store, and manage critical information. Thus, it is crucial that users take measures to protect their computers and data from loss, damage, and misuse. So, computer security risk is any event or action that could cause a loss of or damage to computer hardware, software, data information, or processing capability. While some breaches to computer security are accidental, many are intentional. Some intruders do no damage, they merely access data, information, or programs on the computer, while other intruders indicate some evidence of their presence by leaving a message or by deliberately altering or damaging the data. So, computer crime is any illegal act involving a computer in a whole, while cybercrime is only online or internet-based illegal acts. Here are the 7 basic categories of perpetrators of cybercrime and other intrusion. Hacker. It is someone who accesses a computer or network illegally. Some hackers claim the intent of their security breaches is to improve security. Cracker. Someone who accesses a computer or network illegally but has the intent of destroying data, stealing information, or other malicious action. Both hacker and cracker have advanced computer and network skills. Script kidding. Often used for written hacking and cracking programs to break into computers. Script kiddie has the same intent as a cracker but does not have the technical skills and knowledge. Next is corporate spy. Have excellent computer and networking skills and are hard to break into a specific computer and steal its proprietary data and information. Scrupulous companies hire corporate spies. This practice is known as corporate espionage, and it is used to gain competitive advantage towards another corporate. Unethical employee. Break into their employer's computer for a variety of reasons. Some simply want to exploit a security weakness, while others seek financial gain from selling confidential information, and some employees just want to revenge to their employers. Cyber extortionist is someone who uses email as a vehicle for extortion. These perpetrators send an organization a threatening email message indicating they will expose confidential information or exploit security flaw or launch an attack that will compromise the organization's network if they are not paid a sum of money. And lastly, cyber terrorist. It is someone who uses the internet or network to destroy or damage computers for political reasons. Cyber terrorists might target the nation's air traffic control system, electricity generating companies, or even a telecommunications infrastructures. Cyber terrorists usually requires team of highly skilled individuals and really costly, expensive because it takes several years of planning. So let's now go to internet and network attacks. Information transmitted over networks has a higher degree of security risk than information kept on an organization's premises. In an organization, network administrators usually take measures to protect a network from security risks. On the internet, where no central administrator is present, the security risk is greater. Internet and network attacks that jeopardize security include computer viruses, worms, Trojan horses, and rootkits, botnets, and denial of services attack, backdoors, and spoof. The following section addresses this computer security risk and suggests measures organizations and individuals can take to protect their computers while on the internet or connected to a network. Computer viruses, worms, Trojan horses, and rootkits. We all know that every unprotected computer is susceptible to the first type of computer security risk, which is computer virus, worms, Trojan horses, and rootkits. So, virus is a potentially damaging computer program that affects or infects a computer negatively by altering the way the computer works without the user's knowledge or permission. Once a virus infects a computer, it can spread throughout and may damage files and system software, including the operating system. Worm is a program that copies itself repeatedly, for example in memory or on a network, using up resources and possibly shutting down the computer or network. Trojan horse, named after the Greek, is a program that hides within or looks like a legitimate program. Certain condition or action usually triggers the Trojan horse. Unlike virus or worm, a Trojan horse does not replicate itself to other computers. Rootkit. It is a program that hides in a computer and allows someone from a remote location to take full control of the computer. Once the rootkit is installed, the rootkit author can execute programs, change settings, monitor activity, and he or she also can access files on the remote computer. Computer viruses, worms, Trojan horses, and rootkits are classified as malware, short for malicious software, which are programs that act without a user's knowledge and deliberately alter the computer's operations. Unscrupulous programmers write malware and then test it to ensure it can deliver its payload. Payload is the destructive event or prank the program is intended to deliver. So here are the symptoms that a computer is infected by virus, worm, Trojan horse, or rootkit. Number 1, operating system runs much slower than usual. Available memory is less than expected. Files become corrupted. Screen displays unusual message or image. Unknown programs or files mysteriously appear. Music or unusual sound plays randomly. Existing programs and files disappear. Programs or files do not work properly. System properties change. Operating system does not start up. And operating system shuts down unexpectedly. So, we should watch out for these symptoms kasi baka yung mga computer natin is affected na siya ng virus, worm, Trojan horse, or even rootkits. So, para maagapan is maging observant tayo sa computers natin. 300,000. Currently, more than 300,000 websites can infect your computer with known viruses, worms, Trojan horses, rootkits, and other malware. These malicious programs deliver their payload on a computer in a variety of ways. Number 1, if the person opens an infected file or runs an infected program, pwede rin na boots the computer with infected removable media inserted in a drive or plugged in a port, and many more.
So, a virus can also spread through an email message, and it is a common way computers become infected with virus and other malware is through users opening an infected email attachment. So this is how virus spread through an email message. Step 1. Unscrupulous programmers create a virus program that deletes all files. They hide the virus in a word processing document and attach the document to an email message. Step 2. They send the email message to thousands of users around the world. Step 3A. Some users open the attachment and their computers become infected with the virus. If the users did not open the attachment or the email, it is step 3B. Other users do not recognize the name of the sender of the email message. These users do not open the email message. Instead, they immediately delete the email message and continue using their computers. These users' computers are not infected with the virus. Safeguard against computer viruses and other malwares. With the growing number of new viruses and other malware, it is really crucial that users take steps to protect their computers. So here are some tips for preventing viruses and other malware. Number 1, never start a computer with removable media inserted in the drives or plugged in the ports unless the media are uninfected. Number 2, never open an email attachment unless you are expecting it and it is from a trusted source. 3, set the macro security in program so that you can enable or disable macros. Enable macros only if the document is from a trusted source and you are expecting it. 4, install an antivirus program on all of your computers. Update the software and the virus signature files regularly. 5, scan all downloaded programs for viruses and other malware. 6, if the antivirus program flags an email attachment as infected, delete or quarantine the attachment immediately. Number 7, before using any removable media, scan the media for malware. Follow this procedure even for shrink-wrapped software from major developers. Some commercial software has been infected and distributed to unsuspecting users. Number 8, install a personal firewall program. And lastly, stay informed about new virus alerts and virus hoaxes. This is really important for us to prevent virus and other malwares from infecting our computer. So let us now go to botnets. It is a group of compromised computers connected to a network such as the internet that are used as part of a network that attacks other networks, usually for nefarious purposes. Compromised computer, known as a zombie, is one whose owner is unaware the computer is being controlled remotely by an outsider. Cybercriminals use botnets to send spam via email, spread virus and other malware, or commit a denial of service attack. So, denial of service attacks is an assault whose purpose is to disrupt computer access to an internet service such as the web or email. Perpetrators carry out DOS attack in a variety of ways. For example, they may use an unsuspecting computer to send an influx of confusing data messages or useless traffic to a computer network. The victim computer's network slows down considerably and eventually become unresponsive or unavailable, blocking legitimate visitors from accessing the network. Perpetrators have a variety of motives for carrying out a DOS attack. Those who disagree with the beliefs or actions of a particular organization claim political anger motivates their attacks. Some perpetrators use the attack as a vehicle for extortion. Others simply want the recognition even though it is negative. Backdoors. Backdoor is a program or set of instruction in a program that allows user to bypass security controls when accessing a program, computer, or a network. Once perpetrators gain access to unsecure computers, they often install a backdoor or modify an existing program to include a backdoor, which allows them to continue to access the computer remotely without the user's knowledge. Spoofing is a technique intruders use to make their network or internet transmission appear legitimate to a victim computer or network. Email spoofing occurs when the sender address or other components of the email header are altered so that it appears the email originated from a different sender. Email spoofing commonly is used for virus hoaxes, spam, and phishing scams. IP spoofing occurs when an intruder computer fools a network into believing its IP address is associated with a trusted source. Perpetrators of IP spoofing trick their victims into interacting with a phony website. Safeguard against botnets, DOS attacks, backdoors, and spoofing. So to defend against botnets, DOS attacks, improper use of backdoors, and spoofing, users can implement firewall solution and install intrusion detection software. So a firewall is a hardware and a software that protects a network's resources from intrusion by users on another network, such as the internet. All networked and online computer users should implement a firewall solution. Organizations use firewall protection to protect network resources from outsiders and to restrict employees' access to sensitive data such as payroll or personal records. They can implement a firewall solution themselves or outsource their needs to a company specializing in providing a firewall protection. So here is the example of firewall. When it comes to home and small office or home office, users often protect their computers with a personal firewall utility. Personal firewall utility program that detects and protects a personal computer and its data from unauthorized intrusions. Some operating systems such as Windows include personal firewalls, but some small office or home office users purchase a hardware firewall such as a router or other device that has a built-in firewall in addition to or instead of personal firewall software. Hardware firewalls stop intrusions before they attempt to affect your computer maliciously, so it is really important for us to have a firewall. Intrusion detection software. To provide extra protection against hackers and other intruders, large organizations sometimes use intrusion detection software to identify possible security breaches. Intrusion detection software automatically analyzes all network traffic, assesses system vulnerabilities, identifies any unauthorized access, and notifies network administrators of suspicious behavior patterns or system breaches. To utilize intrusion detection software requires the expertise of a network administrator because the programs are complex and difficult to use and interpret. These programs are also expensive, but it is really useful in detecting intrusion. So that's all for my report, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Professor Dina Makuha, for that impressive discussion. Sobrang talamak ng mga computer crimes ngayon, especially halos lahat ng bagay ay technology-based na. Napakarami kong kilalang famous personalities na they had to sue someone because of cybercrime actions. Ano bang thoughts mo dito, Prof?
Ngayong pandemic, mas lalo tayong nag-focus sa technology, especially sa gadgets, since halos lahat na ng activities na ginagawa natin ay online, mapatrabaho man or school. Kung kaya mas lalong naging talamak yung cybercrimes. In fact, kasama na to sa top 3 priorities ng FBI.
Kaya nga po, Prof. And now, let's visit our Twitter space. Napansin ko na #1 trending tayo with today's hashtag #VebsPamor unang chismis. At may mga questions ang ating mga chismosang viewers. Sabi ni @issues4lifers, Prof, ano ba yung pinagkaiba ng cyber-extortionist at cyber-terrorist? #VebsPamor unang chismis.
Cyber-extortionist is someone who uses email as a vehicle for extortion. Nagsisend sila ng email message sa mga kumpanya indicating na i-expose nila yung confidential information, exploit a security flaw, or launch an attack that will compromise the organization's network kapag hindi sila nabayaran sa gusto nilang amount of money. While yung cyber-terrorist naman is someone who uses the internet or network to destroy or damage computers for political reasons. Posibleng target nila ay yung nation's air traffic control system, electricity generating companies, or telecommunications infrastructure.
Oh, thank you, Prof. And meron tayong second question mula kay ako lang ang baby mo. Prof, totoo po ba na yung sinasabi ng mama ko na Kapag ginagamit yung mga gadgets malapit sa bintana habang umuulan, may possibility na matamaan ng kidlat or joke time lang si mama. #BebsPamor, unang chismis.
Hindi lahat ng gadgets ay prone sa lightning. In fact, ang mga kailangan nating iwasan ay yung mga bagay na nagko-conduct ng electricity. Kailangan nating lumayo sa mga corded phones, electrical appliances, wires, TV cables, computers, plumbing, metal doors, at windows. Yung sa bintana naman, hazardous siya for 2 reasons. Yung hanging dala ng bagyo, maaaring tumangay ng kung anumang bagay at tumama sa bintana na magiging cause ng pagkabasag nito at makatama. Yung pangalawa naman, sa mga lumang bahay, in rare instances, lightning can come in cracks in the sides of windows.
Thank you, Prof. Di na makuha. So after knowing the computer security risk and internet and network attacks, let us now jump into another interesting topic about unauthorized access and use of a computer and different types of computer theft. Let us now welcome our second guest, Information Technology Professor Ms. Nahimatay na.
Good day. I will continue discussing about the computer security risk under the chapter of Computer Security and Safety, Ethics, and Privacy. Another type of computer security risk is the unauthorized access and use, which is unauthorized access is the use of a computer or network without permission, while unauthorized use is the use of a computer its data for unapproved or possibly illegal activities. Example of this is someone gaining access to a bank computer and performing an unauthorized transfer. Next is how can we avoid this kind of unauthorized access and use. Many organizations take several measures to help prevent unauthorized access and use. At a minimum, they should have written acceptable use policy, which is AUP, that outlines the computer activities for which the computer and network may and may not be used. Other measures that safeguards against unauthorized access and use include firewalls and intrusion detective software, which were discussed in the previous section by Ms. Dio, and disidentifying and authenticating users. To further discuss about identifying and authenticating users, many organizations use access controls to minimize the chance that a preparator unintentionally may access or an employee accidentally may access confidential information on a computer. This access control is a security measure that defines who can access a computer, when they can access it, and what action they can take while assessing the computer. In addition, the computer should maintain an audit trail. An audit trail is the records in a file, both successful and unsuccessful as access attempt. Under this, we have two-phase process of access control. We have identification, which verifies that an individual is a valid user, while authentication verifies that the individual is the person he or she claims to be. Under this, identification and authentication, we have 3 methods. These 3 methods includes the usernames and password, possessed objects, and biometric devices. To discuss these 3, first we will discuss about the usernames and password. Username is or user ID is a unique combination of characters such as letters of the alphabet or numbers that identifies one specific user, while password is a private combination of characters associated with the username. Users typically choose an easy-to-remember word or series of characters for passwords. Example of this, they are using their pet names, birthdays, or any favorite things that are related to them. Here are the example of username and a password. Some websites use a CAPTCHA to further protect users' password. This CAPTCHA is a program that verifies users' input is not computer generated. Example of CAPTCHA is the image. Next is we gotta tackle about the possessed object. This possessed object is any item that you must carry to gain access to a computer or computer facility. Example of this is a card you use in an automated teller machine, which is the ATM, is a possessed object that allows access to your bank. This includes the personal identification number, which is the PIN, to add an additional level of security. Next is about the biometric devices. This biometric device authenticates a person's identity by translating a personal characteristic such as fingerprint into a digital code. This could be your voice recognition, scanning of the eye, fingerprint scanning, or facial recognition. So let's talk about digital forensic. This digital forensic involves the examination of computer media programs, and many areas use digital forensics, including law enforcement, insurance agency, and information security department in the private sector. Next, computer security risk is about the hardware theft and vandalism. This hardware theft is the act of stealing computer equipment, while hardware vandalism is the act of defacing or destroying computer equipment. To help reduce the chance of theft, mobile computer users must take special care to protect their equipment. Some users attach a physical device such as cable to lock a mobile computer temporarily to a stationary object. And many companies, schools use a variety of security measures. Physical access controls such as locked doors and windows usually are adequate to protect the equipment. And businesses use a real-time location system to track and identify the location of high-risk or high-value items. Next is software theft. Software theft occurs when someone steals software media, intentionally erases programs, illegally copies a program, or illegally registers or activates a program. This another type of computer security risk is a form of software theft occurs when software is stolen from software manufacturers. This type of theft, called piracy, is by far the most common form of software theft. This software piracy is the unauthorized and illegal duplication of copyrighted software. To protect software media from being stolen, owners should keep original software boxes and media in a secure location. All computer users should back up their files, and this regularly in the event of theft. To protect themselves from software piracy, software manufacturers issue this user's license agreement. This license agreement is the right to use the software, that is, you do not own the software. So let's tackle about information theft. Information theft is stealing personal or confidential information. Example of this is a corrupt individual may steal credit card and make fraudulent purchases. Most companies attempt to prevent this information theft by implementing the user's identification and authentication that have been discussed earlier in this chapter. Some companies and individuals use variety of encryption techniques, and these encryption techniques is the process of converting readable data into unreadable characters to prevent unauthorized access. In the encryption process, the unencrypted or readable data is called plain text. Here are the example of a table showing 4 simple encryption algorithms, and most of the encryption keys used is a combination of algorithms. We also have this digital signature. This is an encrypted code that a person or organization attaches to an electronic messages to verify the identity of the message sender. And we have this website that uses encryption techniques to secure its data is known as Secure Site. This digital certificate is to know that the website is legitimate, and this certificate authority is an authorized person or a company that issues a verified digital certificates. Next computer security risk is we have this system failure. A system failure is a problem either with hardware or with the operating system. A variety of causes can lead to system failure. A surge protector uses special electrical components to provide a stable current flow, and some are using uninterrupted power supply, a device that contains surge protection circuits, and one or more batteries that can provide power during a loss of power. But then, backing up is the ultimate safeguard against this system failure, because backing up is a duplicate of file, program, or disk that can be used if the original is lost, damaged, or destroyed. Next, in our topic, we have wireless security. Wireless technology has made a dramatic changes in the way computer users communicate worldwide. Although wireless access provides many convenience to users, it also possesses additional security risks. So that we have this wireless access point. This wireless access point should be configured so that it does not broadcast a network name. We also have this Wi-Fi protected access. This is a security standard that improves on older security standard by authenticating network users and providing more advanced encryption techniques that have been discussed earlier in this chapter. And that is all for me. Thank you for listening. Again, this is Diana Fernandez, your IT professional. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Nahi. Personally, madami akong experience dyan sa mga hackers na yan. Kasi before, yung laptop ko, pinagawa ko sa mall, tapos yung mga hackers, they try to access my online banks to purchase na mga walang kwentang bagay. Kaya gosh, napaka-scary.
Sorry you experienced that kind of situation, Jenica. Kaya nga dapat maging maingat tayo sa paglalagay ng personal information sa mga social media and of course sa mga gadgets natin. Palagi ko nga sinasabi sa mga students ko, never click, remember my password sa kahit anong websites.
Ayan mga viewers, tandaan nyo yung sinabi ni Prof. Nahi Matay na. Protect your personal information at all times. And now, let's answer some questions from @asukaldipapa, #Vebspamor, unang chismis. Any tips to protect myself from unauthorized access and use? Does two-way authentication really work? Thank you mga ka-Vebs!
Regarding this two-factor authentication, this process adds an extra layer of security to the authentication process by making it more difficult for attackers to access a personal device or online accounts. This is because even if the victim's password is compromised already, a password alone will not be sufficient to pass the authentication check. They will ask additional questions for verification and authentication on the person's account. Example is by confirming the identity of a person or place where the action of accessing is done. So by this concept of two-way authentication, this process could actually help prevent unauthorized access and use.
So, last question na po, Prof. Nahi. So, from @marupok pero maganda. Anong format po ba ng password ang pinakamagandang gamitin? #Vebspamor, unang chismis.
Yung mga users kasi sa panahon ngayon, generally, they use an easy-to-remember word or string of letters as their password. If your password is too obvious, others may be able to guess it easily. Great security is offered by a longer password than by shorter ones because the longer, the better. A combination of letters with upper and lower case, digits, and symbols are the essential components of a strong password.
Thank you, Professor! And that's a wrap for our first two guests. Marami ba kayo natutunan mga chismosa? Mas dadami pa yan. Kasi magbabalik pa ang Vebs pa more! Hello Universe! Nabitin ba kayo mga ka-Vebs? Alam kong marami sa inyo ang sobrang interesado at nagnanais na matutunan ang mga susunod nating mapag-uusapan. Pag-usapang kalusugan ay talaga namang hindi magpapahuli ang mga Pilipino. Paano ba naman? Health is wealth, ika nga nila. Kaya wag na nating patagalin pa. Let us now welcome our health advisor, Dr. Bia Mateo, to give us the necessary information about health concerns of computer use.
Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Bia Mateo, and I will be sharing to you the health risks that we might get from computer usage. It is important to take care of ourselves, just like how we take care of the key parts in a computer. Our health is just as important as the data that we save in our devices. So without further ado, let's jump into our introduction. I do think all of us have already been influenced by the devices that we use simply because we demand of such efficiency in our lives. Parte na talaga siya ng buhay natin. On my next slide, you can see what aspects in our life does the technology affect, and makikita natin kung gaano kahalaga talaga yung paggamit ng computer. I, as a medical practitioner, computers or just technology in general helps me and my fellow medical practitioners in work efficiency. We do acknowledge the variety of advantage of computers, but we should really limit our usage as much as possible. Repetitive strain injury is one of the many health risks that an individual can get from too much computer usage. It is an injury or a disorder of muscles, nerves, tendons, ligaments, and joints. From the name itself, we can get it from doing the same motion along with improper execution. The way that we do the same thing over and over without the proper execution will lead to pain in the long run. Tendonitis is the inflammation of our tendons in our wrist. The tendons in our wrist allows us to move our hands, wrist, fingers smoothly. The overuse of our tendons will cause it to overlap and will result to the irritation of that part, causing us to feel the pain. Another health risk that we might get is the carpal tunnel syndrome. This might be familiar to gamers or office work employees. It is the inflammation of the nerves, particularly on the median nerve. If the median nerve is pressured, it will swell and would lead to blockage of blood that flows in that nerve, causing us to feel the pain. I do think that as long as we prevent having this risk, we have a lower chance of getting it in the long run. Maraming hand exercises na pwede tayong gawin. Pwede rin tayo magsuot ng wrist, braces, or wraps. If hindi naman ma-prevent, you can always have another solution. Number one is rest. You can also put ice to lessen the swelling of your wrist. There can also be an option to go to therapist. Mahal siya, pero ikaw din naman makikinabang. And then the last choice for the patient is to do surgery. CVS or computer vision syndrome is another type of condition related to computer usage. It is more focused on our eyes because it is included as a part na mas naapektuhan kapag gumagamit tayo ng computer. I do think marami sa atin ay nakaranas na ng irritation. Feeling natin dry siya or makate and blurry. We can also have headaches kapag matagal na nakababad sa computer. So it might be an effect or a symptom of eye strain. What we can do to prevent or hindi na lumala is to avoid too much sunlight na directly sa gadget tumatama. Since ang tendency ay tataasan natin yung brightness ng gadget, we are also not allowed to use the full brightness of our gadgets. Another solution is to take breaks in between. We can close our eyes and let it just rest. For another measure, we should put our devices far enough para hindi malapitan yung pagtingin natin sa mga computer screens. Another solution is anti-radiation glasses. I think it's a need at this point kasi lagi tayo nakatutok sa mga devices natin. It is an optional solution but is highly suggested. If ang patient naman ay may dry eyes, we could also give them eye drops as a treatment bago sila ma-monitor after. Kung hindi pa rin sapat yung mga nabanggit na, meron pang additional remedies or solutions na ibigay tayo. First is to invest in ergonomic items such as ergonomic chairs, ergonomic computer accessories, and things alike. Kasi pinopromote ito yung proper posture, which is the root of all the pain that we feel. Improper posture kasi can equate to body pain, which is a larger scale or a larger effect than just eye strain or wrist injuries. To prevent injuries, we can also do stretches kapag nag-take tayo ng break. So at the end of the day, no matter how we need or how it is so efficient to use computers, we should sometimes put our phones down. Our eyes should also leave our computer screens and continue living in the moment because we might miss some important details in our lives. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abia Mateo. Alam mo ba, Doc, feel ko, need ko magkaroon ng ergonomic workplace kasi palagi ako may back pain, lalo na kapag whole day ako may Zoom meeting. Kasi alam mo na, strong independent girl ako eh.
Totoo yan, Jenica. Back pain is one of the health concerns na palaging iniinda ng mga students at colleagues ko. Kaya I advise talaga to invest sa office chairs na body ache friendly.
Bibili na nga ako ng ganun, Doc. So, alam mo ba, Doc, may chismosa tayong viewers na gusto makichismis siya. I see. At 1234, asawa ni Marie. Ano po yung mga eyes and hand exercise na makatutulong to prevent serious health concerns? Kasi almost 20 hours akong nakaharap sa computer araw-araw, Doc. Send help. Hu. Charot. Hashtag Vebs pa more. Unang chismis.
So ngayon, magpapakita tayo ng hand exercise upang maiwasan natin yung carpal tunnel syndrome at yung tendonitis. Host and other professionals, you can also do the hand exercise that I will demo. First, you will do like this. And then, slowly, you will make it into a fist and then hold it for 5 to 10 seconds. And then slowly open. And then, i-repeat lang yon for like 5 sets. And then, another hand exercise na makakatulong talaga is ganito. Ganyan. Dapat straight yung arms and yung wrist. Ang gagawin natin is upward motion. And then you will hold it for 10 seconds or kahit 5 lang. And then slowly, you will bring it downward. Like this. And then hold it also for like 5 seconds. And then you will just repeat that for 5 sets or 10 sets. And malaking help na yon para maiwasan natin yung syndromes na pwede nating makuha sa paggamit ng computer and technological devices.
Wow! Grabe! May pa-demo pa si Doc. Thank you, Doc! So alongside with the facts on how computers could help us in our daily lives, making our day-to-day operations easier and more efficient, there are still a lot of things to consider since it is really evident that in today's generation, some people tend to take advantage the use of their computers. With that, we invited professional lawyer to help us understand the laws that provide security in our computer information systems and the consequences charged for immoral use of these technologies. Let us now welcome Attorney Maritoni Mabangis.
Good day, everyone. I am Maritoni de la Cruz and I am here to report about the ethics and the society aspect of Chapter 10. But first, let us define what is computer ethics. So, computer ethics are moral guidelines that govern the use of computers and information systems. Mayroon siyang 3 points, which namely are information accuracy, intellectual property rights, and information privacy. So, ano nga ba ang information accuracy? Sabi dito, information from the web is not always correct. So, as users, we should always evaluate the value of a web page before relying on its content. Mayroon din tayong term na tinatawag na retouching photos, where users can digitize photos and then add, change, or remove images using graphics equipment and software. According to the National Press Photographers Association, allowing even the slightest alteration could lead to misrepresentative photos. However, others believe that digital photo retouching is acceptable as long as the significant content or meaning of the photo does not change. Next is let us distinguish the difference between intellectual property rights and copyright. Kapag sinabi kasi natin intellectual property rights, these are the rights to which creators are entitled for their work. One of the most common type of infringement is piracy. where people pirate or make illegal copies of software, movies, and music. However, many areas are not clear-cut with respect to the law because copyright law gives the public fair use to copyrighted material. Let us now discuss about green computing. So green computing means reducing the electricity and environmental waste while using a computer. This gives rise to the Energy Star program, which is a program that encourages manufacturers to create energy-efficient devices that require little power when they are not in use. Next point of computer ethics is information privacy. This refers to the right of individuals and companies to deny or restrict the collection and use of information about them. These are the tips on how to safeguard personal information. Next is mayroon naman tayong term na tinatawag na cookies. Cookies is a small text file that a web server stores in your computer. It contains data about you, such as your username or viewing preferences. Next, let us distinguish the difference between spyware and adware. So, a spyware is a program placed on a computer without the user's knowledge that secretly collects information about the user. While adware is a program that displays an online advertisement in a banner or a pop-up window on web pages, email messages, or other internet services. So internet advertising often collects information about users' web browsing habits by hiding spyware in adware. The next term is a spam. So a spam is an internet junk mail or an unsolicited email message or news groups posting sent to multiple recipients or news groups at once. But how can we reduce this? We can reduce this by using email filtering, or we can also purchase an anti-spam program. We also have other terms such as phishing and farming. Phishing is a scam which a perpetrator sends a official-looking email message that attempts to obtain your personal and financial information, while farming is synonymous to phishing, where a perpetrator attempts to obtain your personal and financial information, except that they do so via spoofing. And we can reduce this by phishing filtering, where you are blocked from such fraudulent acts. In the Philippines, we have the Data Privacy Act of 2012 or the RA 10173. But what is this all about? It aims to protect the fundamental human rights to privacy of communication while ensuring the free flow of information to promote innovation and growth, and the state's inherent obligation to ensure that personal information in information and communication system in government and in the private sector are secured and protected. This applies to all acts done or practices engaged in and outside of the Philippines if the person, either an individual or an institution involved in the processing of personal data, is located in the Philippines. The act or practice involves personal data of a Philippine citizen or Philippine resident. The process of personal data is done in the Philippines. And if the act, practice, or processing of personal data is done by an entity with links to the Philippines, subject to international law and conduct. What are the penalties for violation of RA 10173? The process of personal information for unauthorized purposes shall be penalized by imprisonment ranging from 1 year and 6 months to 5 years and a fine of not less than 500 pesos but not more than 1 million pesos shall be imposed. Before I end my report, I would like you to remember this quotation from Mitch Kapora: "Getting information from the internet is like taking a drink from a hydrant." Thank you guys for listening. I hope you learned something. Good afternoon to everyone.
Thank you, Attorney Mabangis. Dami ko natutunan, especially tungkol sa mga batas about computer use. People should be cautious in their action kasi in one wrong click, their information could go to the wrong hands. Kaya mga viewers, hinahinay sa paglagay ng informations ha? So, Attorney, ready ka na ba makipagchismisan sa ating viewers na nakaabang sa Twitter?
Oo naman, Jenica.
Okay, let's go. So, ito, sabi ni @kay Dave lang malakas. Ano ba yung electronic profiles? Parang FB profiles po ba yon, attorney? Hashtag Vebspamore, unang chismis.
Oo, no, Jenica. These are also called digital profiles wherein our personal information is posted on the internet. When we say electronic profiles kasi, halimbawa, when we fill out a form and a person receives it, it automatically be placed on or being input sa isang database. Therefore, our information is being accessed.
So much information, attorney. So, dami ko talagang natutunan. And ang next pa nating tanong ay galing kay @withdraw Mama Isko. Madaming mga tao ang nananakawan ng pera sa GCash at mga online banks. Paano ba nagagawa ng hackers yun, attorney? Nakakatakot na talaga. Huhuhu. Hashtag Vebspamore, unang chismis.
Oo, no, tama ka dyan, Jenica. Talamak ang ganyang issue ngayon. So, first of all, pwede silang gumamit ng mga fake banking apps where a malware author creates a replica of the bank's application and uploads it to a third-party website. And once you download the app, you enter the information, this is when hackers attack. Kaya dapat mabusisi tayo sa pagda-download ng mga applications sa ating mga gadgets.
Kaya mga Vebs, ingat sa pagkiklik ng mga emails na natatanggap nyo para di kayo mga mabiktima ng hackers, ha? So, that's it mga ka-Vebs. Punong-puno ng impormasyon ang utak ko mula sa mga napakahusay nating mga professionals. Talaga nga namang sa hirap ng buhay ngayon, kahit ano ay susuungin nating mga Pinoy. We are known to be resilient kaya't nothing can stop us from being dedicated at palaban. Subalit munting paalala, mula sa reyna ng mga chismosa, it's good to fight if you know you can fight. So sa panahon ngayon, di sapat na matapang ka lang. Dapat alam mo sa sarili mo na kaya mong lumaban. Huwag masyadong magpadala sa bugso ng damdamin upang maiwasan ang pangluloko ng ibang tao. Remember, work harder and smarter. And that's our mahiwagang pulot for the day. Again, thank you for our guest speakers, Prof. Dina Makuha, Prof. Nahimatay na, Doktora Bia Mateo at Attorney Maritoni Mabangis. Naway marami kayong matutunan mula sa ating segment ngayon. Thank you rin sa ating mga sponsors, Efficacent Oil, ang savior ng mga tita, Lola Remedios, ang sikreto sa Golden Voice, Katingko, ang gamot sa lahat ng sakit. Thank you so much for watching. I am Jenica Dueñas, ang reyna ng mga chismosa, and this is Vebspamore, ang unang chismis. Bye! See you next week para sa ating susunod na Chikahan Sesh mga besh!